All right, welcome to this emergency Mid-Bay News broadcast. We had quite the meeting in Walton County last night, and Stephen Saul was there to cover it, as you might have guessed, for Mid-Bay News. And from what you've told me, Dad, there's just so much here. Somebody got fired, somebody's ex-wife showed up. There's been really kind of a institutional faltering in Walton County based on some of the reporting you've given us and you're going to release later today. Can you just take us through what happened last night in Walton County?
Yes, what appeared to be a normal meeting was not. The business as usual was handled, recognitions were given, but I really was kind of taken aback a bit when the gentleman that began prayer started his focus on stoning. And I thought, oh no, what is today going to bring? So it was fire and brimstone. It was just, I think, as I was saying to you earlier, had that been my first BCC meeting, the Board of County Commissioners meeting that I was exposed to, I don't think I'd ever have wanted to go back.
And so from this experience, something that I have never personally experienced is just something this knockdown, drag out. My understanding is that they did fire the county administrator, or former county administrator of Walton County, Stan Sunday. He's something like the fifth or sixth county administrator in the last 5 years. They can't keep somebody. The county commission has started to rip each other to shreds over this kind of stuff, and it's getting pretty ugly. So can we just start with Stan Sunday's firing? How did this come about and what was said?
Well, first of all, Commissioner Dan Curry, who is in District 1, his agenda item did talk about the county administrator. So it was listed that he had an intention of dealing with this on that day. But the county administrator, as I understand it, is really, in this case, the fall guy. Everybody in the county that is a director or a leader in any capacity ultimately reports to the county administrator, Stan Sunday. And so if performance is great, if we're firing on all cylinders as a department, things are great. But what has happened and what we're seeing in many of the county commission meetings is that we have so many areas that are not performing with a superior rating or excellent rating. There are many things that need improvement within the county, within each of the departments, according to the commissioners. And because of that, basically the buck stops with the county administrator if performance issues or items of concern costing the county money, the hiring practices, anything that works with the operation of the business of the county, it ultimately stops with Stan Sunday.
Sorry. So eventually there is a no confidence vote for Stan Sunday. He loses it 3-2 and is fired. But one of the things that was brought up are all the people that came in and said, like, hey, this guy is no good, even including apparently his ex-wife who showed up. And I've had bad days at work, but I've never had my ex-girlfriend back in the day come to my job and tell everybody that I work for that I'm horrible. So, I've just never seen anything like this. What was it like to be in the room when something that deeply awkward was going on?
I just can't tell you the number of deeply awkward situations. If Tammy Sunday, the former wife of the administrator, was the odd issue, I just have to tell you that was just one of the minor ones. It was odd. I felt that Tony Anderson, who was the acting chair, because Donna John had seconded the motion to terminate, so the gavel had to be passed down to another council person or another commissioner, and so Donna John's passed the gavel, and Tony Anderson was very quick to tell Tammy Sunday that when she spoke, we were going to keep all issues tied to performance and work performance for Mr. Sunday.
And so we have this whole thing happen with Tammy Sunday and Stan Sunday. The motion to fire happens, but that was just part of it, right? From the reporting that you've given and put in front of me, this is a systemic failure on the part of the Board of County Commissioners in Walton County. The issues, we're looking at everything from a 9% drop in tourism revenue. There's no tourism executive director here in Walton County where we're sitting right now. There's a whole bunch of places or spots that have not been filled. The ones that have been filled, there's accusations of nepotism. that are coming from the board against other board members. And that led to a pretty aggressive spat between Commissioners Curry and Drake, who already don't get along. So can you tell us a little bit about what's going on there with the nepotism claims and the claims that there's not enough people there and the tourism department doesn't have a leader? What is going on here?
Yeah, to avoid getting in the weeds, there was Commissioner Curry had asked on the May 27th meeting about HR practices in hiring. And when someone is a candidate for a position and they're brought in to interview, Commissioner Curry had asked at that meeting, how many options does a candidate, a potential employee that is interviewing, have to choose a date for an interview? And what the acting administrator Sunday said, was that 2 or 3 options are typically given. And what Curry did was he refuted that in this meeting, saying that's not true. And he used his own son and his process for interviewing, and how he was only given one opportunity, one date for an interview. And so he refuted that by his own family interviewing for a position. It was just totally chaotic. And so what happened was that loaded the gun, if you will, for Drake to say, in the days, Curry, before you were elected in your position, you talked about the nepotism of the county. He didn't call it that. He called it family and friends. That's what Commissioner Drake referred to it as, family and friends. He says, so now that your son has interviewed for this, do you have a change of heart on this? To which Curry said, hey, listen, I never wanted my son to apply for a position with the county. I prefer he didn't, but he did, and he is a grown man, and he made that decision. He said, I would not have given him a reference if they asked for one. The only thing I would have said was that he is my son. So it got ugly. The exchanges, these are our commissioners who are at the dais, and they are speaking. And I'm telling you, it was so very personal. One of the things that I want to mention are several things that I want to mention when we talk about Sunday and defense for why a motion was made to terminate him. One of the things that I haven't mentioned to you is that Curry says that in the county, we have a total of $0.9 million worth of code violations that have not been collected. $3.9 million. And he split it up, and he said, and what that adds up to is $8,000 per day. If you were to break it down, he talked about HR practices, which I have just mentioned. And he talked about, he and Commissioner Donna Johns talked about ordinances, that our ordinances are not up to date. He used, case in point, the fire prevention ordinances. He talked about there are no job descriptions for jobs that are vacant. So that is an HR practice, an HR issue. Now he and Curry and Dan Curry and Donna Johns talked about there's no assistant county administrator. We don't have anything ready to back up. We have no executive tourism director. We have no replacement for Matt Carpenter, who retired and gave notice that he was retired. And they were saying that's ridiculous, that there should have been things put in place. So we can see that as far as leadership and as far as taking care of business, there is a sorely lacking issue here. And one thing that I may say, I want to add here, is that when you look at these things that were said directly about Stan Sunday, his performance or his lack thereof, it was very telling to me. And I don't know what his posture was. I've thought over the last 18 hours, what is the posture there? Why did he remain fairly quiet, only responding to 4 of the accusations that were made? He really did not say a lot. He remained quiet. I looked at his demeanor, and it was very clear that he was
like resigned.
Yes, but just it was very much a similar look. It was almost like this was not unexpected, but he looked red, and had I been in his position, I would have been very much the same way. It was a very sad day thinking about being terminated in front of the county, in front of everyone. And I know that there are 3 direct reports currently right now that report directly to the BCC, the Board of County Commissioners. And he is one of those 3. And so with that, and because of the laws and the ways that they have to be open records in the way that they handle their business, it makes for a difficult time of overseeing and managing employees as a group.
So a very, very difficult and uncomfortable county commission meeting. Stephen/Dad, thanks for being there, reporting on this. We're going to have a full report from you this evening in written form. I imagine it's going to be long. There's so many pieces to this. But before you go, as a Walton County resident and also as a reporter, I mean, what's your takeaway from this? What happens next? What should happen next? I mean, where does the county go from here after something this toxic?
I have to say that I'm very disappointed in the way that meeting was handled yesterday as a citizen. As a reporter, it's good for news. I will tell you, I've never seen anything like this. But I would say that I think that these people that have been elected as county commissioners, probably from what I know of them, they regret what transpired yesterday. And if they don't, I'm sorry for them. But I do believe that they do. And I believe that there is a sense that there is an accountability that needs to be taking place in each of our departments, that there needs to be greater, not only responsibility, but accountability within the county. And I have to say, too, that if I was a candidate for the county administrator, I just don't know if that's a job that I would want in the climate and temperature that we're experiencing right now.
I mean, absolutely. After so many people get fired so quickly, what seems to be a very combative commission, I mean, life expectancy can't be very long.
And who would want it?
Another hard to watch one. Of course, we'll have detailed reporting on this coming up to you on midbaynews.com if you're watching this. If you have comments and questions, we'd love to hear them. Put them down there in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to our newsletter. That's where you're going to get all our news all at once, is where you'll find us. But until then, Stephen, thanks a lot for being there and doing all this reporting.
Good day.